13 years ago, Brent Adamson and Matt Dixon, founders of the Challenger sale, found that almost 60% of the purchase decision was concluded by the time a buyer engaged with a seller. Buyers were researching online, speaking to their peers, making shortlists prior to engaging with a supplier or a seller, making it very difficult to influence that purchase decision. Forrester found that to be closer to 90% of the purchase decision to be concluded by the time a buyer would engage a seller. And Gartner more recently found that only 17% of the entire purchase process, the buying journey, was afforded to suppliers. And if you're just one of 3, maybe 4 suppliers, you've got 5 or 6% of the entire purchase timeline to influence the purchase decision, which is impossible, especially when you think about the fact that there are 12 or more different stakeholders influencing the purchase decision. And given the economic climate, these purchase decisions are under more scrutiny than ever before. You may have seen on LinkedIn recently, Winning by Design ran some analysis, and they found that opportunity generation rates have plummeted. And in the last 2 years, close rates from SMB, so average order values of $6,500 a year, through to enterprise, average order values of $350,000 a year, those close rates have plummeted by as much as 50% in some cases within that 2-year period. The layoffs in tech are a symptom of a bigger crisis than the economic one that we're faced with. The B2B buyer behavior, or B2B buyer behavior, has changed significantly, and our revenue facing teams don't have the skills to deal with it. This kind of reminds me of a story from the late 1800's about the horse shit crisis. So if you haven't heard it, the Times wrote an article about it where they reported that London and New York, who very busy cities, relied on horse and carriage to ferry people to and from the places they needed to go. Between them, they had 150,000 horses trotting the streets, and if that created a problem. There were a lot of horses, and therefore there was a lot of horse manure that needed cleaning, and they struggled to stay on top of it. And if something wasn't done within 50 years, every street would be full or buried within 9 feet of horse manure. So something had to be done. But nobody could think of a solution to that problem because everyone relied on the horse and carriage. It was there, it drove the economy, it was fundamental to everything that people did, their businesses. And it took several years, but Henry Ford came up with a solution: the affordable production vehicle, and saved the day, as it were. And this reminds me of the situation we're in today. We've got this traditional sales funnel whereby we have ploughed effort and money and energy into the top of that funnel, working it as hard as we can to try and optimize performance to get more out of the bottom, and it no longer works in the way that it did before. No matter how many new sales plays or more messaging or new hires or more partners we recruit, the problem remains the same. The system is broken, and a new approach is required. And so I think we need to take a look at the fundamental system that we all work within, and look at the skills required to help our entire industry move forward, beyond the horse manure crisis.